France, a country that has always put a great leader at the helm during important moments, especially in sports. But quite honestly, one man is above them in terms of winning. No man in football history has ever won the World Cup as a player, as a coach, and then as a coach again. Didier Deschamps is one tournament away from something that has never been done. One tournament from immortality. But before we continue, this is the final part of our Flash Score series presenting the stories of the 8 biggest favorites of the World Cup. Today, a coach chasing immortality and 50 years of orange unfinished business. If you missed parts 1, 2 and 3, Spain, Portugal, England, Germany, Brazil and Argentina, all of them are waiting for you on our channel. 8 teams, 8 stories, 1 trophy to be won. Right here on Flash Score. Subscribe and do not miss it. Yes, we could talk hours about Mbappe, Dembele, Koeman, Olise, Cherki or Kante. But firstly, we do not have that much time. And secondly, it is about time to focus on the mastermind behind them. There are players who win because of their talent. And there are players who win because of their teammates. And then there are players who win because losing is simply not something they are built for. Didier Deschamps was never the most gifted player during World Cup 1998. Zidane had the magic, Henry had the pace, and Desailly had the power. Deschamps had something rarer. He had the ability to make everyone around him better, to organize, and especially to lead.
He's a winner. He's a winner with that little luck that comes with it. Didier all the time has been having that little luck who has brought him, up to the system. An injury of a player that looked bad, but at the same time, that injury solves his tactical problems and he can, implement and put other people into the system.
But there's one thing you need to understand about Deschamps. Since he was 14, he's captained every youth team, both club and national, including Nantes, Marseille, Juventus and the French national team. In fact, only 3 men have won the World Cup as both a player and a coach. Mario Zagallo, Franz Beckenbauer and him. And Vittorio Pozzo, when with Italy in 1934 and 1938, won the World Cup twice as a coach. If he succeeds, he'll be a living legend.
As we mentioned, he lifted the World Cup trophy in Paris in 1998 and the European Championship trophy in Rotterdam in 2000. And then, when his playing days were over, most people just assumed his chapter in French football was complete. They were wrong, because Didier Deschamps was not done. He had only just begun.
Mesdames, Messieurs, d'abord je vous remercie d'être aussi nombreux. Donc j'ai le plaisir de vous confirmer que Didier Deschamps sera le sélectionneur de l'équipe de France. Il l'est.
When Deschamps took over France in 2012, the team was in chaos. Dressing room scandals, public arguments, poor results, let's say it, a squad full of talent that simply could not function as a unit. So Deschamps did what he always did. He organized, he demanded, and he made the team bigger than any individual.
We grew up together, since we are 13 years old, we've been, sharing the room together. He was my captain on the 15, my captain on the 17 national team, my captain in 19 years old. 21 was somebody else on the 21 years old. So he has naturally that winning mentality that is just unique and he's obsessed. Why we were really going along together is that I don't have only football in my life. I love other things, art, culture, history, wine.
Just listen to his coaching stats from the World Cup. 19 games, 14 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses, 8 clean sheets. They scored 40 goals and allowed only 17 during that span. Deschamps, after the first World Cup, realized that he had the offensive talent, but this usually does not win trophies. So he created and updated a system that still works now. Tactically, Deschamps has never been a romantic. He is not interested in beautiful football, but in winning football. His base will be 4-2-3-1. In reality, it is a system built on 3 pillars. The first one, and the most important one, defensive solidity. Centre-backs of world-class quality. William Saliba and either Dayot Upamecano or Ibrahima Konate. Especially Saliba needs to be in top form. He is a defensive anchor. Secondly, in front of them are Tchouaméni or Kanté sitting deep, protecting the backline and killing space before it even exists. You know the famous saying, 70% of the world is covered by water, the rest by N'Golo Kanté. Despite his age, France needs one more world-class performance from him. Next to them is Adrien Rabiot, who connects the whole team and provides much-needed box-to-box aspect. This defense does not gamble, ever. The third pillar, and this is where France becomes truly dangerous, is transition.
Where we were, for France, were good on transition, quick transition at front. You are strong with your defensive block and you project yourself and you go forward to win matches with Mbappe back in the days. Now you have Dembele and many more.
The moment France wins the ball back, everything changes. Does not matter where Mbappe plays, whether it is on the left or in the center. Either way, he will be the most fastest and dangerous player in the tournament. He loves the World Cup stage. 12 goals in 14 matches speak for themselves.
You have a guy who have scored 40 goals for his team. He's not really defending, okay, but what is your problem? He have scored 40. It's true, the other ones who are around him are bitter a little bit because they feel that he's taking advantage of opportunity, into the system. And so what? What is your problem? It's obvious that in Madrid, the association is not up to the level to allow Madrid to go to the next level, plus their defensive problems, blah, blah, blah. It's not the case in French national team. He's the leader. He's the captain.
Ousmane Dembele on the right. Unpredictable, direct, impossible to plan for. After all, he is the last winner of the Ballon d'Or. And through the middle, the creativity. Michael Olise or Ryan Cherki. The connectors, the men who make the system breathe with unique thinking and skill set. As far as offensive talent goes, there won't be a better team in the tournament.
France has really a squad. The individuals that are inside the team are just unique. You don't have any other team that have that 8 or 6 strikers up to that level.
It's often difficult to know how these stars can manage together, but Deschamps is really good. He's really good to manage. So I don't know. I think the main difficulty is a group, starting with Senegal, ending with Norway. Physically, it's going to be tough, and that I think it's most important. And if you win this first game against Senegal, things will start good. But if you lose, it's going to be difficult. And it's in that moment what you will see if your locker room is strong.
In the summer of 2026, Didier Deschamps will walk into his last tournament. Obviously, he will not talk about legacy or history. He will talk about the next game, the next training session, or the next detail that needs to be right. That is just who he is.
He was just obsessed about football. He's just thinking about football. And he developed, that desire on having the power. He likes power. He likes to be front line. And national team has really given him the tools to be front line.
5 wins from 6 qualification games. Deschamps hates surprises, and this qualification definitely was not one. The offensive firepower is the main reason why France is the favorite. According to FlashScore, the combined value of Mbappe, Olise and Dembele alone is an unimaginable 480 million euros. 27, Mbappe's age when the World Cup begins. The peak of one of the best players in the world in Deschamps' final tournament. The timing couldn't be more perfect. 1998, the year Didier Deschamps first lifted the World Cup trophy. 28 years later, he wants to hold it again, from the other side of the touchline. Ryan Cherki is probably the #1 player right now when it comes to being fun to watch, full of ideas and creativity. he might be easily the best player of the whole tournament. Player, champion. Coach, champion. Coach again, champion again. No one has ever done it. No one has ever been in a position to do it. Until now.
They have the winning mentality. They have the individual players that at any time they can make the difference. So it's not one or two or eventually three. It's more than that.
And while France is debating whether there will be a massive celebrations on the Champs-Élysées again, in the Netherlands they are discussing slightly different thing. If they can finally overcome their national trauma.
Uncomfortably to Fabregas. Surely now! Surely now! Spain have won the World Cup for the first time in history.
Because Dutch football is known as one of the biggest innovators in the history of the game. But some results are just way more powerful than innovation. At least to the nation's soul.
It's one of those things, isn't it, for the Dutch? We always try to play really attractive football, possession football, but taking it to the end and winning a World Cup, we haven't achieved yet.
1974 World Cup final, lost. 1978 World Cup final, lost. 2010 World Cup final, lost. 3 finals, 3 defeats, 0 trophies. But that was then. This is now.
Everyone of my generation and the ones just above me will remember 2010 and that chance for Arjen Robben against Spain. We still talk about the toe of Iker Casillas, which helped which held us from winning our first World Cup.
To be honest, we were thinking whether to add the Netherlands to the group of the biggest favorites. Yes, this kind of question was raised due to the long-term Dutch results in the World Cup. But in the end, we realized that sometimes, when no one is expecting it, history can be rewritten.
It is a trauma in a way, because when you lose 3 finals, you get so close every time, and those games are close and you are good in them, it leaves a mark.
However, there is a particular kind of pain that only football can produce. The pain of knowing you are still falling short. The Netherlands knows that pain better than almost anyone. A nation that gave the world total football, one of the most influential football philosophy ever conceived, and never once lifted the trophy that would have justified it. And then, when it seemed things could not go more painful, they just did. 2016, Netherlands did not qualify for the European Championship. 2018, they did not qualify for the World Cup. For a country that produced Cruyff, Van Basten, Bergkamp, Robben or Van Persie, it was unthinkable. The country that basically invented modern football, watching from home. The orange machine had just broken down.
2018, we missed out on a World Cup after we were second and third in 2 World Cups prior to that. The atmosphere around the team and in the team were very, very, very bad. It was looking very bleak. There was no confidence, there was no structure, there seemed no plan, there were no set tactics, there was nothing in place that made anyone say, yeah, we belong back in the top 10 or even in first place where we were in 2010, 2011.
But you know how it is, and we strongly believe in it. When you least expect it, something arrives on the scene. A new generation may not be full of individual superstars, but players that together create a hell of a team. Ronald Koeman returned to manage the Netherlands in 2023, not as a new voice, but rather as a familiar one. A man who played in some of the greatest Dutch teams ever assembled. A man who understands in his bones what Dutch football is supposed to look like.
I don't see the Dutch as one of the favorites. They just want to see good football and they want to see the Dutch getting at least to the quarterfinal, I think. I think they will be happy. I don't think that we think in the Netherlands that we can win it, you know, even though you never know, but we don't see ourselves as the favorites.
If you had to name some symbols of the Netherlands, you would say orange, tulips, and the 4-3-3 formation. This formation does not sit deep and absorb. They press, attack, and play forward with conviction. So, the main roles. At the back, obviously, Virgil van Dijk. 34 years old, still the most dominant defender on the planet. The foundation on which everything is built. Honestly, if this guy is not in the top form, there is not much point in worrying about the rest. In midfield, Gravenberch, Reinders and De Jong. First controlling, second creating. And the last one is doing everything at the top level. This could be the most balanced trio of midfielders of the whole tournament. Their cooperation will be a key element of the success of the Oranienses. On the right side, expect a winger who spends most of the match cutting inside to make way for the right-sided powerhouse, Denzel Dumfries. This man will be both an offensive winger and a defensive fullback. And in attack, Cody Gakpo, Daniel Malen, Memphis Depay. There isn't one player around whom everything revolves. Koeman has options, and the team is very flexible. 6 wins from 8 qualification games. The Netherlands are back where they belong. 94% of passing accuracy of Frenkie de Jong, one of the highest ones in La Liga. De Jong is the heart of the Dutch team. The Barcelona captain will be largely responsible for the team's performance. Virgil van Dijk is the undisputed leader, and this is his last real chance to win the gold. These circumstances are motivation in and of themselves. Historical depth is obvious, 3. That's the number of World Cup finals reached, 0-1. In 2026, the Netherlands wants to finally change that number. When you hear Dutch attack, other names come to mind, but Daniel Malen has found his scoring touch in Rome. Expect him on number 9 position.
There is always hope with the Netherlands because we always have this core of super talented players that play with world-class clubs. It is again this year. There is hope.
Koeman has given Netherlands their identity back. The question now is whether that identity is enough to finally win. True, the names have changed. Cruyff becomes Van Basten, he becomes Bergkamp, and he becomes Robben. And now we do have De Jong, Van Dijk, Reinders, Gravenberch, Gakpo. A team that carries 50 years of unfinished business on its shoulders. Different names, but same dream. Orange has always been beautiful. In 2026, they come to make it golden.